Welcome back, fellas. We're off to see Paul. I've done a few videos with him now and everyone seems to love them, and plus I love going down. It's like Disneyland for me. It's a 2-hour journey. I've got about 30 minutes left. Honestly, I absolutely love the British countryside. Like on a sunny day like this, it's amazing, man. I'm so lucky to live in England. I'm just going to sit back and enjoy the ride.
I hoped we were gonna make it. He promised we would find the time.
We're here, fellas. It's currently right. It's the 24th of March and things are getting a little bit weird about this corona thing, and like I'm starting to get a little bit skitsy. So I've came down with some rubber gloves. So I'm literally going to put rubber gloves on for the full time I'm here. I don't know when you're going to say this, but honestly, I hope it sorted itself out. I don't know what's going to happen.
Dreaming for eternity, creating perfect memories, yeah.
It's getting all a bit scary, this stuff, mind, isn't it? I'll shake your hand like, but...
No, you can't. You're stopped, innit? But
aye.
You just don't know. You could have it, I could have it.
I hope you're feeling strong, because this is a...
That video is pushing it.
That's why I couldn't get it out on my own.
Is it?
How have your videos been doing?
Oh, doing class, man.
Are they?
Aye. I've just done one. Do you know Barry Stevenson or not?
Yeah, yeah.
Have you seen his Escort he's doing? He's got a Series 1,
yeah.
4-wheel drive. I've just been out on it at the weekend.
Have you?
Aye. Class that, mind.
Yeah, that'll be a good one.
Aye.
Right.
Are we pushing this, are we?
Yeah, we'll have to push it outside.
Where do you want us to push it from, Paul?
As long as you don't push on the spoiler, I would just push on that corner there we always push.
On?
Yeah, on
Right.
sort of tailgate and thing. It's a bugger, like. Once you get going.
Once we get going, will we, eh?
Have you stopped pushing or what?
Oh, taking it outside?
Yeah. You think this is hard, wait till we push it back in.
Isn't they petrol in them, like?
No.
What's the deal with the white one? You never had that last time I was in, did you?
Yeah, I did.
Did you?
I think so, yeah. I can't remember.
No.
I'm getting old and saying that, I can't remember anything.
This ramp had the yellow one on the
Oh, Benson and Edges.
Aye.
Did it?
Aye, well last time.
When did it last come?
When we done the full workshop one, it did. I can't remember the Texaco, I can't remember what was on the ramp with the Texaco. It might have been this one.
When did you come?
Beginning of December, I think.
I can't remember. You'll have to watch me back out.
Right.
Pull out if it'll start, because I hope I can squeeze it off. So, well, no, I'll move that bike first.
That's a beauty, that, mind.
Can be yours.
I bet I'll just sell me house. How much does things like that go for, like?
25.
Oh, that? Oh, it's not as much as I thought, mind. But we've just been getting a kitchen extension.
Aye, I seen that. That'll cost you a few quid.
Why? I was saying to Amy, come and get a motorbike for the kitchen. What I really want is RGV 250.
Yeah, bollocks them.
Aye, like an old 252 stroke,
Yeah,
which is
nice,
good. Don't be stupid, we're not putting a bloody motorbike in the kitchen.
Of ours?
Aye. I says, Paul's got one here, me man. We've got
Honestly,
it's a done
I'll tell
thing.
you what, everybody that comes loves it. Even women all look at it and go, that looks lovely.
It does.
And you expect them to go, I wouldn't have that in my house. You want to bring her and show her.
I still didn't think I'd get away with it, mind.
Tell her who wears trousers in your house.
Aye. Out for an easy life, me, Paul.
You wear the trousers as long as she says it's all right. Well, I'm too fat and old for this.
Do you want me to drive?
everybody were distancing.
I've started on the way down.
Did you? Yeah.
I mentioned why I've got
I
gloves
think
in
it's
that
wise,
one.
isn't it? Just so people understand why you've got gloves on.
And we're keeping a distance.
Yeah.
Do you want to stand outside the car?
Adam smells a lot, so I want to stay over here. Actually, you go to that side, it's easier. I can hide more on this side.
Right, fellas, I'm here with Paul, the main man, the Cosworth man, the RS500 man. He's got his beautiful Dick Johnson RS500 out. My knowledge isn't quite up to you, Paul, Paul, I'll be honest.
You're getting there.
Getting there. How long you had it, Paul?
Just over 2 years
Just
now.
over 2 years?
Yeah, I've been trying to buy this car for, must be over 10 years.
What number's this one?
This is number one.
And there's two, isn't there?
There's 6 in total.
Six in total, sorry.
This is number one.
Uh-huh.
Number 1 and number 2 were Dick's obviously first 2 cars that he built to contend against the Australian Touring Car Championship in '87. And they started over there. So this car and number 2 actually started life as just standard 3 doors.
Not 500s?
Exactly, yeah, because if you look back, not a lot of people realise that all the Sierras, when they started in '87, early '87, all were standard 3-door Cosies, because the 500 hadn't been developed then.
Right,
hadn't
right,
been
aye.
homologated. So this and DGR2 were the first 2, and they started as 3 doors, and then converted, when the homologation was complete in August of '87, this car and 2 were then upgraded, had all the 500 bits and pieces on, and the bigger engines, bigger turbos and everything like that.
There's not that many differences, though, is there, between a RS500 and a 3-door? The main ones like the bumper, the spoilers, in the engine there's the turbo.
Well, the
and
engine was completely different.
Was it?
Yeah, people don't realise.
The block?
Everything. You actually, everything under the bonnet on an RS500, road car we're talking about, completely different to a standard 3-door. People lift the bonnet and they think, oh, well, it's, you know, bigger turbo, an 8-injector inlet manifold, a couple of hoses, bigger airbox. But when you actually look very close, every single hose under the bonnet is completely different.
Really?
There isn't one hose the same.
Oh, I didn't know that.
No, they're all different. In fact, everything under the bonnet is different. You see, like your header tank, that's the same.
Aye.
There's a couple, you know, obviously your wiper motors and your usual standard.
Heater
bits are
motors,
the
stuff
same.
like that.
But everything else is completely different. The engine block was a special block for an RS500, which was a thicker wall casting, so it could take a lot more power. The cylinder head was unique for an RS500.
What was different on the cylinder head?
Well, it had, to meet homologation, what they did, they ported the inlet side of the head, but they only ported it so far in. They didn't port it all the way in. They only ported the first, I think, probably 5 to 10 mil, let's say.
On a road car?
On a road car, just so it met the homologation that was required for the race cars. So
I didn't know that.
Obviously the intercooler, the big, what everybody
aye.
says now, I fitted an RS500 intercooler. Well, obviously that car came with it as standard. The radiator was the same, but you know, all the hoses, the pipes, obviously had the 76mm pipes for the bigger turbo, the bigger inlet manifold, etc. You know, there was a lot more than people think there was.
So when this car was first built, it'll have had a 3-door Cosworth engine in.
Yeah.
Then they took that
T3.
full engine out.
Yeah.
It had a T3 as well on the race.
They were standard. Don't forget, the 500 never existed.
So what power was this when it was a 3-door Cosworth?
It's about 350.
And it was racing. How was it doing?
They did all right. I mean, obviously they were nothing like, as soon as they were converted to 500s, they just went from middle at grid, bang, front at grid straight away. And this car probably is the perfect example of that change, because this car was Dick's prototype, if you will, his development car, the car that he first built. Dick, and I think a lot of the cleverer people that forward thought, realised that this car was quite an incredible car, even as a 3-door, produced a huge amount of power for a 2-litre car. And they realised that the future development of it was going to be huge. So this car was Dick's development car. Suffered badly. I mean, it did okay as a 3-door. It didn't do bad at all. I think the 3-door shocked a lot of people around the world.
But it still must have had more power than everyone else, a 3-door, didn't
No,
it?
because all the Holdens in Australia were V8s, were big horsepower. You know, you had the M3s that were already 300 odd horsepower, but normally aspirated, so no lag, a lot lighter, a lot more nimble, cut out cornered these.
Did that?
Oh yeah, the M3 would you know, these things, as you know, you've got a cosy. You come out of the corner and an M3 would go. So this car, although wasn't superbly successful as a three-door, it was what led Dick Johnson to become the world leader in an RS500.
In RS500's.
Because this car was his development car. He had a lot of turbo trouble. The turbos kept blowing on him because, you know, the
RS500 turbos?
No, when it was a three-door.
The T3 turbos?
Yeah, because they were running a huge amount of boost through a little turbo. They were blowing up. They had problems with differentials in the early days. As much as this car didn't do brilliant as a three-door, it paved the way for what was to come for Dick later. And he's, you know, he says that. He openly says it in interviews, in books that he's written, that this car was his, you know, what got him going.
Got him going, got him started.
And then obviously in 87, when the homologation was passed for 500s, this car then was immediately converted, RS500 engine, the bigger intercooler, bigger turbo, all the aero put on it, front to grid.
Front to grid.
Started winning. And I mean, this car won the Australian GP support race, won it outright straight away. You know, once they converted to 500, as we saw in British touring cars and everything, they just came from middle of grid straight to front grid and just absolutely wiped the floor with everything.
They did,
yeah, they did.
Aye.
So albeit its beginning life wasn't fantastic, it certainly
made up for it.
Yeah, and Dick did a lot of development work with this car. Dick Johnson homologated what's known as the Harrop diff. Now, in England, we ran the Ford Motorsport 9-inch diff. Dick wasn't pleased with it. They were unreliable, they popped really easy. So Dick worked with Harrop, which is an Australian company, you know, transmission company, and they developed what is known as the Harrop diff, because obviously the company was Harrop. And they developed this diff that's in this car now and was adopted by a lot of people throughout the world. It's quite a strange diff because it's almost a locked diff. So it's incredibly grippy. You know, you come out of corners, and when you drive a car with a Harrop in it, I find personally, compared to a Ford 9-inch, this does not want to go sideways as easy as one with the Ford 9-inch or the Eggenberger cars with the Ford 7.5-inch. If you press too early, you know, as these, you can come out a lot harder.
And it doesn't go sideways as much.
Yeah, they're fabulous stiff.
And you were saying this car now has one drive shaft in.
It does.
It'll drive perfectly fine with just one drive shaft.
Because it's almost a locked diff.
Aye.
The problem with them is, because they're almost a, you know, solid locked diff, when you try and move them around, because both wheels is trying to turn at the same rate, it just grabs.
Aye.
And you can hear them banging. You know, when you move them around with both shafts on, you can hear the outside wheel banging as you turn. And so I took a drive shaft off this to move it in and out easier. And
it worked perfectly fine as well,
I mean,
didn't
you
it?
go out racing with one shaft because you'd so knack at the diff.
Aye, doing one wheel peels everywhere.
Yeah, trying to do donuts and wondering why you just sat there.
It's in fantastic condition as well, this one. Has it been restored?
It has. I can't take credit for it, to be fair. I have to give the credit to Andy Lloyd, who I bought the car off.
Is it up to your standard, the restoration?
I've never done anything to it, so I must be happy with it, really.
Aye.
But I do love the car. But yeah, it does look lovely. They've done a fantastic job of inside.
But aye.
Because when you look at the, you know, the quality of the paintwork inside is phenomenal, and to do that on a car with a cage in it, and remember this car's had its fair share of knocks and scrapes.
Has it?
Oh, yeah.
How many times has it been bumped? Scraped?
It's had a few.
Has it?
Yeah, I mean, it's not horrendous. While Dick drove it in the early days, it had a few knocks, but nothing horrendous. Well, I'll maybe start with its history again to make it easier to understand. This car was Dick Johnson's car in '87. So he started with it as a three-door. He then developed it and raced it in the final part of '87 as an RS500. Dick then, in '87, started to look at building new cars. So DGR1, this car was Dick's car. DGR2, its sister car, was driven by a guy called Greg Hansford. He drove that car in Australia as a left-hand drive car. So there was this car as a right-hand drive, DGR2 as a left-hand drive. And then in '88, Dick built a brand new car for himself, which is DGR3. This car then became his new teammate's car for 88 John Bow. Exactly the same car. All he did was change the number on the doors from 17 to number 18, which was John Bow's number. DGR2 then became like a promotional car. It was retired, but taken around local garages and what have you, where people could see it.
Like Ford showrooms.
Exactly, yeah, as a demo thing for Shell and for Ford. And then obviously in 88, this car Dick did him unbelievably well because they developed the diff, they'd got rid of the problems with the turbos because they'd upgraded to the bigger turbos.
T4 turbo.
Yeah, so he just started dominating. And when you watch the 88 season on YouTube, whatever, it gives me goosebumps because you see this car,
This
Dick
exact
Johnson
car.
in front, and this car just tucked behind Dick Johnson going through, and just dominating. And this car, his proudest thing, in 88, this car came second at Bathurst.
Did it?
I think we've said in previous of these talks we've done that to win Bathurst is like the top of the tree in the races throughout the world. Bathurst is the race to win.
The one
You want to win. Dick had 3 cars in the race at Bathurst, and this was the only one to finish. This was the old car, the spare car, if you will, the third car.
Aye.
The other 2, Diff went on 1, if I remember correctly. Dick had a blowout down Conrod Straight at about 170 mile an hour, and he managed to spin but stay off the barrier. He just touched the barrier with back bumper, limped it back to pits, put a wheel on it, went back out, but I think it knackered the diff.
Right.
It had done some damage. Anyway, he ended up back in this car, and this car got second at Bathurst, which is, you know, phenomenal.
Aye. Aye.
So then after 88, Dick had built another new car, so you then had DJR3 and DJR4, and this car and DJR2 were sold to British racing team known as Trackstar. And the 2 drivers for Trackstar were Rob Gravett and Mike Smith, you know, the Radio 1 DJ. So this car became Rob Gravett's car, and DJR2 became Mike Smith's car in the Trackstar colours. And part of the deal when Trackstar bought these 2 cars off Dick was they were refreshed, repainted, so they were all painted white. All, you know, any updates were done, and the DJR2, the left-hand drive car, was converted to right-hand drive. So that was done by Dick Johnson before it came over to the UK. They put the red on top. I'm trying to work out whether red was top or bottom. They then painted the top half red, put all the Trackstar livery on them, and Rob did unbelievably well in this car. Absolutely. If you watch the 89 season of British Touring Cars, this car won nearly every race. The only races it didn't win was the Birmingham Super Prix. Do you remember that, where they used to shut out roads?
Aye, seen it on YouTube.
Fabulous. Yeah, great that.
Aye.
He was winning the race and gearbox blew, so he didn't win that one. And I'm getting old, you know. I can't remember whether it was Thruxton. I think it was Thruxton, and he had a big off, did Rob Gravett. Came to come round outside of a back marker and just clipped the back marker going into corner, spun him, and he went backwards into tyre wall and pushed all this corner right, and it actually set on fire.
Did it?
Yeah, because it burst the fuel tank. Fuel gushed out everywhere. They put it out. It didn't destroy the car, but it had a fair whack in this back corner, which, when you look close, you can see it's been repaired. The gaps are absolutely perfect. But it is what it is. You know, we've mentioned this before on the Texaco car video. These repairs are great because they prove cars.
Aye.
You know, you can look at the car and say, well, look, that's where they joined this panel, that's where they joined that panel. This has actually had half a floor pan in this passenger side.
Has it?
Because when it crashed, the wheel came off the back arm snapped. The wheel came under the car, and if you watch the YouTube video, you can see the car bounce on the wheel as it spun round after it hit the arm cone. The wheel came through the floor, punctured an hole in the floor.
On this one?
On this car, yeah.
You would never guess mine, would you?
Well, no, because obviously in period they just braided it all back, welded it up, put half a rear quarter in. I think they put a full rear quarter on this side actually, in a back panel in it, because it had a good crack like. And then when this was restored, Andy's mate restored it for him, did all the paintwork and that. Steve Matthias, they call him, and his sons, they do the work, and they put a new piece of flooring there.
Did they?
They've done a fabulous job.
Aye.
You'd never know, would you? They've joined it all in properly and just put that section that'll have been bodge repaired.
Bodge repaired. I would have been tempted to leave the bodge repair.
Well, the thing is, that's the trouble, isn't it? When we've mentioned this before again, when you restore these cars, you've got to make them look as nice as you can, but you can't take away too much of its history. You've got to leave it. And like we said, the gaps on this, they're not perfect, but you can tell it's had a whack in front at some time in its life. It's had a whack in that back corner, but when you jack it up and you look underneath and you can see evidence of repairs, you can look at old photographs or old videos, and you can see, oh, that's when that happened and that's when that happened. And
it's part of the character, isn't it?
Well, nobody cares on a race car. If this was a road car and I was trying to sell it to you now and I saw it went backwards into a top wall,
it had a new floor and that.
You wouldn't entertain it, would
you? No, you wouldn't. You would be aware. Can we have a look at the engine bay part?
Yeah. You've got some.
One thing that I've noticed different on this car to all the other touring cars is the inlet.
Yeah, it's quite well, not unique, but a lot of the Aussie cars, you see that mainly on them.
Is it for the heat, or is that what it is?
Running in Australia, the heat there is obviously, humidity is a lot higher than anywhere else, so they really struggle to keep
them cool.
Keep cool air into the turbo. So they had these great carbon fibre air intakes with a big just piece of foam across the front to try and get as much cool air in as what they could. So a lot of the Aussie cars you see are very similar to this, as a lot of the European cars like the Texaco car just ran the standard airbox.
Aye.
They all obviously upgraded the pipework to the airbox, but it wasn't
to this extreme.
Yeah, so the Aussie cars have them. But this is all original, all the metal fabricated boost pipes that it had in period.
That's some work in that wind as well, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
It's made up of about 6 parts, that isn't it?
Yeah, they just fabricate them. But they're all original. Obviously, if you look at, I've got a lot of period pictures of this car in '87 when Dick built it, and these things changed because obviously as these cars go through the years, they evolve. You know, people work out better breather systems. Because this breather system, I don't think, is a Dick Johnson part. I think this was upgraded while it was a Trackstar car. Because I've only got very few pictures of it under bonnet when it was a Dick Johnson car in '87 and even in '88. And it's quite a bit different to this.
Is it?
Yeah, all the engine light's the same, the air intake's the same, the boost pipe. But you know, when you look at these breather kits and that,
it's different.
It's different. So I can only assume that as they develop the engines and they get more power out of them, they breathe heavier. So the breather system had been upgraded.
Progressed a bit.
But other than that, we say it's original because all the suspension components are the original. The engine's the original mount tune engine. Because when it came over from Australia, they weren't really happy with how the original engine performed in the UK. Well, that could have been difference in fuel, difference in hour humidity. So Mountune built brand new engines for DJR 1 and 2, and this has got its original Mountune engine still in it.
Have you had the engine out?
No,
No.
I haven't done anything to this car since I've had it really. I've changed the wheels because the DJR car had his own wheels made, which were like a gold 7-spoke.
Right.
And this car had them on, and I just don't like them.
Have you got them?
Yeah, I've got them.
Have you?
But I don't like them. I like the car, because this car did run on BBS's.
Aye.
It was the later cars that ran on the 7-spokes, but a lot of people prefer the 7-spokes. I don't.
You prefer the split of these BBS's?
Yeah, so I put the original BBS's back on it, which I like. I've got the 7-spokes, as we say, but yeah, the best thing about this car is even down to all the gauges inside. All the clocks are 100% the original clocks, which is great because you see in-car footage and you can still see all the original gauges. You know, and you can see them all the switch panel inside there with all the buttons on, that's all the original. Even the gear stick surround that's fabricated is all 100% original. Even the dash, and look at that, an uncracked 3-door dash.
Didn't tell people that, Paul, you'd be getting burgled for
It's a
that.
shame the factory to put it around the cage, but
Oh, right, it's been cut.
but yeah, it is very, very original car. Everything underneath is exactly as it was, the fuel system, everything.
Oh, amazing, Paul, really is. And you use them, don't you? You don't. Have you raced this one much?
No, funny enough, yeah, I've actually only ever driven this car once, and I'm trying to think how it happened. Well, as I was saying, when Andy had this car, I pestered him for years.
Aye.
Said, Andy, if you ever sell this car, I want this car. And he always promised me, if I ever do sell it, because Andy had it 20 odd years, he said, if I ever sell it, I'll offer it to you first. And we were at Donington, sorry. It was, we were at Donington, and it was the RS500’s Club National Day. Or was it Ford? Sorry, I tell a lie, it was Ford Fair. And they'd invited all the touring cars to go and do a bit of a display, if you will. I took the Texaco car, but it was in the Louis livery then.
Right.
And I'd just done Silverstone Classic the week before. My turbo blew on the first lap at Silverstone Classic. But I kept going. I was just enjoying myself that much, I didn't care, I just kept going. Anyway, we put a brand new turbo on it for Ford Fair the next weekend. And unfortunately, the turbo supplier supplied me the wrong turbo. So they didn't put a left-handed shaft in the turbo. I went out at Ford Fair, did one lap, and the nut on the front of the turbo came undone. So I'd only done one lap, and I saw the boost just drop off. And I thought, oh, Christ. Anyway, I came back into pits, took boost pipe off, and nut was laid inside the turbo.
Was it?
Luckily, it hadn't gone in and spat into engine. It had just must have fallen off as I'd stopped and laid in turbo. So I dragged it out. And anyway, that was my sort of day over, really, and I was a bit gutted. And Andy, who drove this, said, why don't you take that out? And I was like, Andy never lets anybody drive this car. He never. So I was like, are you sure? Yeah, go on, take it. So I went out in it and I did 10 or 12 laps a day in this.
Loving it.
Oh, Silverstone, sorry, it was Silverstone, Ford Fair at Silverstone. And I drove it and I couldn't believe it, how much power it had and how well it handled compared to other genuine ones I've driven. There was just something about it. And I mean, I'm not an experienced racer, you know, so I can't, you know, a professional racer will get in and say, oh, you need to stiffen this up.
Aye.
I have to wing it, really, you know. But there was just something about it. It just handled superb. And I think a lot of it was the diff. Because as I say, you know, with that Arab diff, you can power out the corners. It was just incredible. And anyway, I came back in with a big grin on my face, like, you know, you would. And then it was only 2 or 3 weeks later, Andy rang me and said, do you want to buy it? And I had a bit of a gut feeling, do you know what I mean? The fact that he let me drive it and take it out on track, that he was maybe
thinking about it.
And yeah, and then I bought it.
So how long have you had it?
It's just over 2 years.
Just over 2 years?
Yeah, not long, really. But time flies, doesn't it? You know,
Certainly does. Certainly does.
You don't realise how quick time goes. But yeah, just over 2 years. Shall we send it up on Airjacks?
Go on then, we'll do it again. Aye.
They're just great, aren't they?
Aye.
Fucking love it. Now that one drops quite a bit, not like normal. Right, at least we know it works, so you can... Are you out at where?
Aye.
Oh, yeah. Told you there was some pressure in there.
That original tape's given up finally.
Yeah, it'd be fine, that. It's a genuine tape. Be all right for another 20 years, that.
Perfect, Paul. Thanks a lot for that, mind. I really appreciate it. Thanks for having us down.
No, you're welcome. It's always nice to have you here.
That's it, fellas. Thanks for having us down, Paul. Honestly, I really appreciate it. I would shake your hand, but with this coronavirus going around, I think we'll keep our distance.
Well, we need to do what we are after shit, to be honest. It's a bit strong.
I'll leave Paul's got a Facebook page. It's called Paul?
RS500’s.
And he updates it regularly with, what do you do, Paul? Like pictures, things what
pictures
things
of
what
the
you up
cars
to?
in period, pictures of the cars today, where they are, who owns them. Road cars as well, we cover everything. So if you're interested in the cars, it's worth a look. Click on, you know, join if you want to join.
Join his page. I'll leave Paul's you've got Instagram as well, haven't you, Paul?
I think so, yeah.
You have, you have. I'll leave Paul's Instagram below and my Instagram. Until next time, fellas, stay safe and I'll see you soon. Spot on, mate. Thanks a lot.
Good.